Facts about Star Trek. On September 8, 1966, Gene Roddenberry's galaxy-spanning Star Trek saga debuted on NBC and helped transform sci-fi television from tired stereotypes into a genre rich with multi-layered drama, ethnically diverse characters, and real-world issues. While it wasn't a big hit at the time, Star Trek eventually developed a loyal following that continued through an animated series, the long-running film franchise, and other live-action television series from the late 1980s onward. If you're a fan of the series and want to learn some crazy facts and secrets about Star Trek, then please keep watching. Number 1. Captain Pike preceded Captain Kirk. The unaired pilot The Cage featured an almost entirely different cast and crew, with Mr. Spock being the lone holdover on the bridge when the classic team appeared in the first official episode. Jeffrey Hunter starred as Captain Christopher Pike, who gets abducted by telepathic aliens for psychological experiments involving a human woman. The original pilot was actually pretty good, but the cast lacked the same warmth and diversity that would ultimately emerge. When the studio rejected the original pilot, allegedly for being too cerebral and lacking in action, creator Gene Roddenberry sought to make another, but Hunter chose to move on to other projects. In the end, it was good that NBC rejected the original pilot because the show was revamped into something much stronger. Number 2. Pike returned for 2 episodes and the movie reboot. Several episodes in, the producers of Star Trek created a 2-part episode called The Menagerie that utilized much of the original pilot. Mr. Spock was taking a now battle-scarred and disfigured Captain Pike back to the planet Talos 4 for unknown reasons, and he would not reveal why until he seized control of the Enterprise and faced a court-martial. It was a clever and cost-effective way to reuse the unaired material and craft a new storyline. In J.J. Abrams' 2009 movie reboot, writers Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman brought back Pike and Kirk's superior officer and mentor on his first mission in space. It was a nice nod to the original series. Number 3. The original number 1 was a woman. In the original pilot, Gene Roddenberry's girlfriend and future wife, Majel Barrett, was Kirk's first officer. Test audiences allegedly did not like her character because they thought she was too pushy and tried to be like the men. But modern audiences would not think of any of those things. When Pike was kidnapped, she led a mission to the planet to rescue him and proved herself to be a capable leader. But this was about a year before the women's liberation movement began gestating in America. The Star Trek universe finally got its female captain with Captain Catherine Janeway in Star Trek Voyager, which aired between 1995 and 2001. Number 4. Majel Barrett Roddenberry has worked on every Star Trek series. Majel Barrett Roddenberry returned in many episodes of the original series to play Nurse Christine Chapel, who had unrequited romantic feelings toward Mr. Spock. She played a more nurturing character, but did not have the command duties of her original role. Following that, Barrett Roddenberry, who has been called the First Lady of Star Trek, had roles in every Star Trek series, playing Nurse Chapel, Lieutenant M. Ress, and other characters on Star Trek, the animated series Lixwana Troy, and the voice of the Enterprise computer on Star Trek The Next Generation, and the computer voices on Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. She also appeared as Dr. Chapel in Star Trek The Motion Pictures and as Commander Chapel in Star Trek IV The Voyage Home, and she provided voice work to other films and various video games. After her husband died in 1991, Barrett Roddenberry served as executive producer on 2 series he had created, Earth, Final Conflict, and Andromeda. She passed away in 2008, but not before recording, you guessed it, the Starfleet computer voice for J.J. Abrams' 2009 movie reboot. Number 5. Kirk had a dark past before Star Trek. Prior to venturing into space and encountering all sorts of intergalactic nemesis like Romulans and Klingons and the superhuman Khan, William Shatner appeared in a variety of dark film and television projects. In Roger Corman's underrated film, The Intruder, he played a racist agitator in a southern town who pushes things too far. In Incubus, a film shot entirely in the Esperanto language, he played a good-hearted man with whom a succubus falls in love, angering her sister and setting about retribution. His appearance as a man terrified of a gremlin on the wing of a plane in an episode of The Twilight Zone is famous, but he also made a turn in possibly the best horror TV episode ever, The Grim Reaper on Thriller, as a man who warns his aunt that the previous owners of the portrait of the titular character, which she now owns, have died violently. Number 6. Spock has greenish skin, but it was originally meant to be red. While Spock's skin has a slight green tint to it, the original plan was to give him red skin. But back in the mid to late 1960s, a majority of households still had black and white televisions, so his skin would appear very dark when viewed on the sets. In one early episode, however, Spock looked really green. Someone messed up with the color palette that day. One wonders if the chance to see the shows in color during their subsequent syndicated runs helped lure new viewers and give excited longtime fans the chance to rewatch the episodes in a way that they had never seen them before. Number 7. William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy both got tinnitus on set. After an explosion on the set of one of the Star Trek films, both stars developed tinnitus, a ringing or buzzing in the ears that is often permanent and can be debilitating for some sufferers. After seeking help all across the country, Shatner learned to deal with it through habituation by wearing a hearing device for a time that produced white noises to help him cope. He has helped others as well. I've talked people down from suicide, Shatner told me in an interview from The Aquarian. A famous musician got a hold of me cold. I didn't know him. He knew I got it because I was the official spokesman for tinnitus at one period. And I talked him down and encouraged him to do habituation. You know, the white sound. Because when I was asked when I first got it how it affected my life from 1 to 0, it was a 9.5. Now I don't hear it except when you and I are talking about it. Number 8. A lot of Star Trek technology became reality. If one looks at the original series, much of the technology being used ultimately being real. The communicators are like modern cell phones. The earpieces worn by Uhura and Spock are basically Bluetooth devices. The universal translators are echoed by the use of modern voice recognition software. Tri-recorders have become the Lockheed PTS, a portable biological lab used by NASA, and the use of interactive video screens is akin to current video conferencing. While Enterprise crew members recorded audio on hard-cased cassette tapes, they looked like soon-to-be modern floppy disks, which are now outdated in our digital era.